Hello, hello. I believe I am live. I'm just going to check in here in the group. Oh, there I am. And give some humans a minute to get on. Hello, you sexy replay watchers. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the people coming on live. Say hello. Tell me you are here. I'm so excited to be back with you. It's been a couple weeks. 2 weeks ago was the Women's Day event. If you attended the Women's Day event and saw either me speaking or anybody else, let me know how you enjoyed it. It was such a beautiful day. And then last week, I just needed some of my own medicine. I needed to rest, lots of kind of like things coming to a head in my business and in my life last week. And I just needed a space to breathe. And so let that be a reminder and permission that it's okay to take space for yourself. It's okay to trust yourself. It's okay. It's safe to rest. Hello, Michelle. The Women's Day event was epic. It was so freaking good. I'm so grateful to my sister Karen for putting that event on. And if you didn't catch it, I'm sure there's a way to get the replays. DM me if you need help. All right. So today I thought, we would talk a little bit about, I titled this video, Why You Don't Have What You Want. And it's interesting because I'm having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people as of recent, and I'm feeling some of my own kind of things in my own life around desire, around what we're wanting to create, what we're wanting to do this world in the world, who we're wanting to be in the world. And a lot of that feeling kind of like not where we are now, which is like in and of itself, partially the problem, right? That we have somehow in our brains because of like our existence in 3D and in like time space, it feels like the things that we want, the things that we desire, the things even that we want to do or create or be, feel like they're there when we're here. And the second we start to play into that idea that like something we want is in a different place than where we are now, is the second that all of that starts to kind of like unravel, and there feels really far from here. And it's really easy, I think, for us to tell the story that like we'll be happy or we'll feel fulfilled or everything will be okay when we get the thing, when this happens, when this situation resolves itself. And I'm not going to lie and sit here and say that money doesn't help certain situations, or that certain stressors going away doesn't create more ease or more spaciousness in your life. But if you can't figure out how to be happy here, it is real wherever you are, whatever here is for you. There is like a fallacy in believing, and we're just really kidding ourselves into thinking that we're going to be happy when we get there. Right. And so like, let's kind of like pull like that nuance of like, well, but I will be happier if all of my bills can be paid. Right. Yes, we get that things like that like there are circumstances that are the exception to this, where the actual tangible thing is the thing that makes the difference. But I'm not exactly talking about that. What I'm talking about here is feeling like, oh, if I just get to the next level in my business, if I just have more clients, if I just had the partner, if I was just able to get out of this neighborhood or this house, if I could just trade in my old beat up minivan for a brand new shiny SUV, if I could just take more vacations, right? And like that thinking where it's like, everything that we want is always there. And so it creates this energetic like distance between us and our desires, which is actually really a form of being in lack. And desire is actually a really dangerous substance that is volatile in nature and can be something that can be kind of bottled up and created into fireworks, or it can be used to like cause an explosion that is harmful. And so when we're playing with desire, this is a conversation that not a lot of people are having, because we want to talk about like desire and what do you want and what are you creating, right? But whenever we talk about that, whenever we're talking about what we're creating, what we desire, what we're longing for, we're actually putting those things outside of ourselves somewhere else. We're actually declaring that those are things that we do not have here and now. So we have to be careful with like the nuance of the energy that we're bringing into the conversations about desire, because we have to be careful to make sure not to put them somewhere far off in the distance, right? And so one way that I kind of like to think about this and break this down is that instead of thinking of your desires as something that doesn't belong to you, that you want to have, or that you want to create, or that you want to be or do, or whatever, right? Instead of thinking it as something you don't have, I want you to think about it as the blueprint of what you already are. It's like your desires are hints as to what it is that you were made to do, be, have. And so they're just pointing you back at who you actually are, because who you actually are at the core of your being is someone who is wealth. You don't just have wealth, you are wealth, right? Who is health. You don't just have health, you are health. Right? You are healthy, you are whole, you are thriving, you are wealthy, you need for nothing, you lack nothing, you are perfect and complete at the core of your being. But then like you're born and the world happens, and conditioning and stories and culture all start to come in, and you forget that. You forget who you are at the very essence of your being, at the very core of you. And all of those stories start to make us feel like everything is further away. And so instead of feeling like the things you want are things outside of you that you're trying to get, that you're trying to attract, that you're trying to magnetize, right? All of this languaging that we hold around manifestation is really like, this is there and I'm here and I need to figure out how to bridge that gap. But what if all of those things were actually inside of you and they just needed to be uncovered or unfolded so that you could see them with your like your eyes? You could actually see the demonstrable effect of who you're being by unfolding it from within you. Feel free, I can see the comments. If none of this is making sense, feel free to tell me. If you're following, if you're not following, send me love heart showers if you are with me, right? The things you desire. So I like to think one of like the imageries that I love of this is that of the caterpillar and the butterfly. When a caterpillar is born as a caterpillar and it hatches from its little caterpillar eggs, right? It's a full-blown fucking caterpillar. But also in that moment, it holds everything that it needs to become a butterfly, right? As the caterpillar, even in the egg, before it becomes the caterpillar, it holds everything it needs, all of the codes, all of the DNA that it needs in order to become the butterfly. But when you look at it, it's a caterpillar. You wouldn't look at a caterpillar and say that's a butterfly because it doesn't look like a butterfly. It looks like a caterpillar. But you cannot be confused that buried deep inside of that caterpillar are these things called imaginative discs. And the imaginative discs are the DNA and the pieces of the caterpillar that once it wraps itself up in its nice and cozy chrysalis and literally digests itself so that it turns into like a gooey caterpillar soup, the imaginative discs are exposed and can come together to create the caterpillar, who then has to wrestle its way out of the chrysalis to go off and fly. And then you're like, oh, there's a butterfly. But the thing is that the butterfly was made from the imaginative discs that were inside the caterpillar all along. The things that you see in your dreams, your deepest desires and longings, when you close your eyes and you think about yourself doing your great work in the world, you think about your life and your love and your family and what that looks like. And oh, the places you'll go and the work you're going to do. And maybe that's stages or book signings or TV shows or travel, or maybe that's retreats or really intimate work with people, right? Maybe that's being well known. Maybe that's being the best kept secret in your industry, right? Whatever that is that you desire, and all of the wealth and the resources that it takes in order for you to do that in the way that is the most gloriously supported and nourishing to you. When you close your eyes and you see all of that come to life, those are your imaginative discs. They are already inside of you. You don't need to attract any of those things to you. You don't need to call any of those things to you in. You don't need to even create any of those things. They're already there. You simply have to let yourself begin to dissolve. You have to allow the caterpillar version of you to eat itself away, to dissolve, to release, to let go, to turn into your own little human soup so that those things can be exposed and unfold from within you. They were never out there. But every time your brain tells you to other it, every time your brain says, but I don't know how to make that happen. I don't know how to create that. I don't know how to get there. It's because you were never meant to create it. It was already created in you when you were created. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to magically manifest it. You don't have to think good thoughts about it. You simply have to trust that it's already who you are. And finding that space in you. Learning to hear and listen to and see and interact with those imaginative discs is the key to everything you desire. And there's going to be some of those discs that feel like they're really easy to access inside of you, that you're like, yes, I got that instant manifestation. Yes, that is who I am. This was absolutely meant for me. It's always been who I am. It's always been. Instantly, you can see it with your eyes and it's in your lived reality, right? And that might, for some of us, that starts out with really small things, right? Like the parking lot at the grocery store, that like that one spot, like they have it reserved for you. VIP parking is always right there. Or like, I'm really excellent with this. I live in Michigan. When it snows, I'm really great. Every time I think to myself, I really wish that neighbor guy would come and use his snowblower. Guess what? He comes over and uses a snowblower. If I do not think that I want him to come over, he does not come over. If I think it to myself, he magically shows up and does my snow for me. So easy. Some of those little places where we allow ourselves to be supported, where we allow ourselves to be in our gifting, where we allow ourselves to be in the highest version, in the most expansive version, in the version of us that is fully willing to show up and do our work in its highest gifting, as well as receiving all of the support and nourishment, whether it's a parking spot or money or a client or the snowblower guy, right? Like all of that. Some of those things are super easy to find. Some of those discs are super easy to expose, and we can get our energy behind it and we can create like this. I'm sure you've all had that experience, big or small, where it's like you've thought something instant. All I have to do is think like, wow, I really wish my ex-husband would keep the kids a little later today. And I get a text message from him. I swear, almost instantly. It's like he hears me telepathically. And then there's some of those discs that are a lot harder to uncover, that feel like they're buried so deep in. And maybe for you, that's the big dream. That's the stage. That's sitting under the tree with Oprah for Super Soul Sunday. That's your big Simon & Schuster book deal. That's your talk show. That's your radio show. That's your life partner. That is your family. That is your beach house in Miami. That is your estate, your retreat estate in Hawaii. That is the big dream. And some of those feel so far away because they're buried deep down. But really, the only thing that creates any dissonance between which discs are really easy to find and pluck out and create into reality, and the ones that feel so far away and so sticky and so buried that we just like don't even know where to begin with them. The depth or the difficulty of bringing them into our reality is only a matter of perception. It's only a matter of our own beliefs and our own understanding of what it takes to reach to those and create those. And so we can train ourselves, we can teach ourselves, because it's the same exact skill to make the guy with the snowblower show up, to get the parking lot, to call in the client or the $100, as it is to call in the $1 million, the estate, the book deal, the Netflix deal, the stages, the whatever. It's the same skill because it all comes from the same place. It all comes from the place that I like to call the holiest of holies, deep inside of you. There's a still point, a dot, where time and space cease to exist, where you and me are no longer separate, where us and our desires are no longer far apart on this time-space continuum. And when you can learn and train yourself to find that spot, anything is possible for you. And it's possible for you without work, without having to manifest, without having to journal something 555 times in your journal, or be grateful for it, or say a spell, or charge a crystal under the moon, or wait for all of the linear steps to make sense and line themselves up. And the only thing that makes one thing seem easier than the other is your belief that one thing is easier than the other. And the more time you can spend at that still point, at that dot, where everything and nothing exists, the easier you will learn to create. In a way, the language is even a little sticky because you're not actually creating. You're exposing the discs. The easier it gets to realize that it was always there all along. You just couldn't see it. It kind of reminds me of like how they talk about magic with little kids and how little kids are like more prone to magic because they believe in it. Because like the world and their belief systems haven't told them that magic is not real yet. And it's the same kind of concept, that if you don't believe it's possible for you, it's not going to be possible. But if you believe, that's where the healing happens. That's where you can step into truth. That's where you access your true power. And so this is a place that is in you, that always exists in you, that you get to go to anytime you want to find that still point, to let go of all of the things that the world and conditioning and your family and your mother-in-law and the internet and capitalism and patriarchy and misogyny and consumerism and reality and Sir Isaac Newton told you were real about the way that the world worked and about the way that everything happens. When you can melt it all away, the longer you can live in that place, the longer you can let those imaginative discs begin to unfold, begin to express themselves, begin to show up, not just as an idea in your head, not just a dream you're having in the night, but as your actual lived reality. And you can begin to cultivate the skill and the advancement of letting the parking spaces and the snowblower guys be just as easy as the man or the Millie or the Miami Beach house or whatever it is that you desire. And so this is what I'm teaching in my newest program, Alter. I'm going to teach you how to find that still point, that dot. And I'm going to be teaching 6 weeks of lectures that are going to be very similar to this one in vibe, in time, in length, in content, where we're really going to go deep into this. Where is the still small point? How do you find it? How do you practice working with it? How do you know which imaginative discs, which desires are actually your imaginative discs, and which desires are desires that capitalism and consumerism have put on you, where you're chasing and trying to create things that you don't even actually want? And what are the real desires of your heart? And how do you suss all of that out? And how do you begin to allow the truth of who you are inform the things that come out of you and inform the way you show up and who you're being? And how do you use, instead of trying to add more into your life, how do we begin to take away, to let our own caterpillar selves, our shells, dissolve and fade away, so that we can become the butterflies of our lives that we were always meant to become, instead of trying to become a butterfly without being ever willing to go into our chrysalis, without ever being willing to allow those discs to come through. So how do we begin to dissolve what we think we know to be true so that the real truth can be exposed and we can fly? So if this is something you want more of, I invite you in to Altar. You can go to kellymahalik.com/altar, ALTAR, and learn more. There's 2 ways you can join. I decided I wanted to do something really juicy around this. So you can join as a voyeur, which means you get to come to lectures like these, and you get to come and watch on a live stream, just like you're doing right now, or on the replay, which you might be doing right now if you're catching this from later, and watch and learn and soak it in and sit with it and enjoy and be in the community within the Facebook group to talk about all of these things and to figure out how to apply them to your life. Or you can upgrade to one of the voyeur spaces, which there are only 10 of. And when the live stream closes, you get to come into a live conversation on Zoom with me, and we get to talk about it more. So imagine we turn off the live stream, the recording ends, and I got to say, now that we're alone, what do you want to know? Tell me how I can make this make more sense for you. How can we take this deeper? How can we apply it to your life and what you are desiring right now? How can we deepen this, embody this, understand this more? So we're gonna have these little secret society meetings after the lectures every single week if you want to be a visionary. So head to kellymahalik.com/altar to learn more and to sign up and claim your spot. We start in just a couple of weeks, but early bird pricing is on right now. So you can get in and save a couple of $100. So make sure you do not wait. If you have any questions, reach out and DM me. But I hope today was helpful for you. I hope that it gave you a new perspective to look at the way you're interacting with the things that you want and the things that you're trying to manifest and create. Because babe, it's you. It's already you, and it's already yours. It's always been. You just have to figure out how to get it out of you so you can see it and hold it and touch it and experience it. And I hope to do that with you inside of Altar. I love you guys. Hopefully I will see you inside of Altar, but I will also see you back here next Tuesday for another free live training. Have an amazing rest of your day and week, and I will see you on the internet.